Welcome back to The Five. So, some bright idea this was. In 2007, Congress passed a bill that included a mandate to require more energy-efficient light bulbs. Your traditional light bulb was to be phased out, to be replaced by new compact fluorescents or LEDs. The idea was that it would create jobs, improve the environment, and save people money. But the result? A total failure on all fronts. The new bulbs are dangerous if broken. The 2 U.S. factories that manufactured the bulbs have closed, and now the bulbs are being made in, wait for it, China. Consumers have rejected the new bulbs, and with all the government's doing to control our lives, no one probably ever expected the light bulb ban to be the thing that put citizens over the edge. But that's exactly what's happened. And right now, they're going to start debate on the House that will vote on a bill to turn back the clock and let consumers and the market decide what kind of light bulbs to buy. Now, I have to say, in full transparency, it was in December 2007 when I was White House press secretary for President George W. Bush that he signed this bill. It was part of a larger energy package. And I remember at the time thinking, oh my gosh, I hate this bill. For some reason, it just bothers me so much that the government is telling me what I can and can't buy when it comes to light bulbs. And I've been stockpiling them ever since.
Well, way to throw Bush under the bus.
No, but why did Bush do this?
Well,
It was a part of a larger energy package. It was all about, look, it's one of those things. It was like you got lots of different things in the bill. But on this one, I remember Speaker Pelosi put this in. And one of the things was it was going to create jobs because people would start manufacturing these in America. That's actually, that's not what happened.
Wait a second. This is, Eric is going to, would you electrocute yourself, please?
Bulb. Look at the difference. Can you? This
well, this one it's like an old car, and it takes like a while to warm up.
Mercury in this one, it's like $5. Is $5. This one's 60 cents.
Is anybody troubled by the shape of that new bulb? It looks like something you'd find under Bill Maher's bed.
No. You know what that is?
Very kinky.
That reminds me of a guy a friend of mine used to have a hookah that looked like that.
That wasn't a hookah.
It wasn't?
No,
not a hooker, a hookah.
A hookah.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
But listen, I think that, first of all, I congratulate George Bush for signing that bill. And could you bite that thing and die?
I'm going to turn them off. But by the way, this incandescent one was manufactured in Cleveland, Ohio, which plant is closed now. And these curly Q ones, China. And
if you break that, we would have to evacuate the room and call in the hazmat team.
We might have the House floor. Do we have the House floor debating this exact issue right now? Take a look here. This is them talking about it right now. But we'll continue to talk about it.
This is bigger than light bulbs. This is much bigger than light bulbs.
It's the straw that broke the camel's back.
Absolutely. It's about the government butting in again, bigger than bulbs, butting in and telling people what they can and cannot do. I just think it's ridiculous that after all these years, Thomas Edison had it right, and all of a sudden members of Congress
can I just say
know better.
Only the Five could time this in a way that we actually get live coverage of the bulb debate in the middle of all the other things going on.
By the way, you know that's going to be the most invigorating debate ever. I think we should just run with that for the next 10 minutes.
I think we should go to a special report. It's like Casey Anthony, whatever her name is.
Let me just read to you what Secretary Chu, he's the energy secretary, what he said about this. He said, "We are taking away a choice that continues to let people waste their own money." As if I couldn't waste my own money on my own.
Said by a guy who suggested an $8 or $9 gallon of gasoline would be a good thing because it would get America off of fossil fuel.
Can I hold that again?
That guy's cool.
Can I borrow your light?
You can have the light,
here's my
Bob.
position on this. I think that you shouldn't get, the government should not necessarily dictate these things, but for those of us who are going to use those, of which I am going to be one of them, and Eric, who's going to keep it, it's my medicine bulb. Here's the thing. This thing uses about 4 times more energy than that does. So how about this?
Who pays for that, Bob?
Your electricity ought to be 4 times higher than mine.
And I pay.
No, but if you buy this, you've already wasted that money.
Yeah,
but if you buy that, because these are 4 or 5 times more
I know,
expensive,
but it's going to last a lifetime. How long do you think Thomas Edison lasted?
But here's the problem. I mean, when that thing breaks, you got to move out. It's like inviting a drug-addicted stripper to live with you.
I don't think that's right. I think, first of all, I still think, Eric, you ought to bite this, is what I think.
Let me just point something out. Forget the 60 cents or $3.40, Bob. That bulb you're holding, when they phase that out, and by the way, it's illegal in California now. When they phase that out for these, they sent 20,000 jobs to China. And guess whose company is doing that? General Electric.
Shocking.
And whose Obama's jobs are? Jeff Immelt, the chairman of GE.
Wait for it.
I knew somehow you'd get this back. A Bush bill back to Obama. That's very well done.
The Stephen Chu quote you read sums this entire thing up. The bottom line is liberals don't trust the American people to make decisions. They don't trust them to their own devices.
Or the marketplace.
We know better.
Not to trust the marketplace to make the decision in the long run.
Could you try to say that one more time, a little bit more pejoratively? Liberals.
No, let me say it so Bob can understand it. The government is not your mom and dad, it's your mistress. So you call her, she never calls you, and she never comes to your house. And that's the problem. These light bulbs are in your house.
I can prove that's wrong.
Yeah,
but there's another problem with these light bulbs in that a lot of elderly people are complaining that they can't read by it. That's what I'm saying, that in terms of consumers, they're just saying, you know, enough is enough. I want my grandma to be able to buy the light bulbs that she wants because these aren't working yet. Now, I'm not saying that they don't have merit and that eventually maybe these would be the solution. But for right now, I think that the House is absolutely right to try to bring this back. I don't think it will pass the Senate, and I don't know if President Obama
But it sets a very dangerous precedent, because it's not going to stop with light bulbs. They'll start with marshmallows and unicorns and
I love marshmallows and unicorns. Don't say that.
All I can say is, President Bush, how does it feel to have the tires of the bus over your back from your former press secretary?
That's not fair. And
no,
I don't
I'm
think that he didn't like that provision.
Well, DeRoy Murdoch, a notable conservative, called George Bush recently in his column about this. He said that he was a Brooks Brothers socialist.
Well, that's not fair either. But when you get
he never wore Brooks Brothers.
But George Bush did expand government. I mean, he did expand government.
And with the help of a Congress.
If you blame Bush for banning the 100-watt light bulb in California and probably the rest of the country soon, it's kind of like saying all of Obama's $4 trillion in stimulus spending is Bush's fault because he started with $160 billion stimulus at the end of his term, which no one really knows.
Do you have a picture of Obama at the end of your bed at night and you just throw darts at? Is that what makes? Does that make your life? Is that right? I mean, you just can't. It's like an obsession, man. It's like an obsession. This is a serious psychotic problem you've got. You've got to deal with this.
You like Obama?
Yes, I do. I do like Obama, and I'll tell you this, man. You have gone way over the edge on this, brother. I'll tell you one thing. You ain't coming to the White House Christmas party.
Let me go back and defend my former boss, because this is important, and all presidents do this. When you finally get to a lame duck session, remember President Obama when he signed the extension of the Bush tax cuts that he said he didn't want to do, and then he did, and now he doesn't, but he said it was the best thing. I mean, anyway, you get a large bill like that, and sometimes provisions like this are in, and that's the price you pay in order to get the other bigger stuff that you need.
Yeah, but a lot of conservatives, I have to bring this up to be fair and balanced. A lot of conservatives are upset with George Bush because of Medicare Part D. They're upset with him because of the prescription drug bill and expanding the TSA. He did spend a lot of money.
All of those things could be argued. I don't know why we got to that after talking about government, like choosing your light bulbs for you. But there are things that have happened over the years. We talked about in the very first segment. The debt ceiling is not something that all of a sudden President Obama has invented. This has been building up for decades, but it is time to pay the piper. And President Obama just happens to be the piper.
I want to give George Bush some credit for some of these things. When you're talking about the Medicare, the prescription drugs is okay. I think that's fine. It's working pretty well. It comes in under cost.
But it's sugar daddy-like.
No, it doesn't.
You've got sugar daddies on your mind, don't you?
It's giving
Are you looking for a sugar daddy?
That's not true, actually.
No, thank you.
But the Medicare's prescription Part D actually is a competitive program that has actually cost less money than they thought it was going to.
These crazy bulbs are filled with mercury, tons of mercury. So this, in my view, is a conspiracy to kill Americans.
Yeah, but so is
environmentalists want to kill Americans because human beings are bad for the planet.
Okay, just
that's my theory.
On a serious note, which is difficult to do with you necessarily, but we sit here and complain day in and day out about dependence on Mideast oil, trying to save energy. These things, whatever else you'll sell about them, will save energy.
What does it have to do with
this is how you're going to solve our
do you know if everybody in America turned off one of those things, you know how much energy you'd save?
$1.50.
Well, we could actually warm up the studio. And it would hundreds
of thousands of gallons.
And you would have a migraine.
Of oil. You would.
You would have a migraine every day.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. And coming up next on The Five, innocent until proven guilty. That's what the law states. But are perp walks making people look guilty until proven innocent? We'll talk about that next. And we'd like to hear what you have to say. You can email us at the5@foxnews.com. Stay with us. The Five continues right away.